The ancient dragon Daesung floated in the empty cargo hold of the broken alien ship. His once bright green scales had turned dull after 300 years alone in space. The ship drifted without direction, its engines barely working enough to keep the lights on and the air flowing. Daesung stretched his massive wings, careful not to hit the metal walls. The ship was big for humans, but small for a dragon. He had learned to move with care over the years. One wrong move could damage the thin walls that kept him safe from the deadly emptiness of space. Another day in this flying prison, Daesung said to himself. His deep voice echoed in the empty room. He had talked to himself for so long that it felt normal now. The ship's computer voice came through the speakers. Good morning, Daesung. All systems working at 42%. No change from yesterday. Thank you, Jiho, Daesung replied. He had named the ship's computer Jiho long ago. It helped him feel less alone. Would you like to hear today's report? Jiho asked. Yes, please. Daesung settled his massive body on the floor. These daily reports were always the same, but they gave his endless days some structure. Ship power levels stable. Food maker working at 30%. Water cleaner working at 65%. Outside temperature, minus 170 degrees. Daesung nodded. The same as yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that. For 300 years. He remembered the day of his punishment clearly. The dragon elders had gathered in the great stone hall on their home world. Their faces showed no mercy as they read his crime, being sterile, unable to have children. Among dragons, this was seen as the worst failure. Dragons lived for thousands of years, but had few children. Each new dragon was precious. Those who could not add to their small numbers were seen as useless. Daesung, son of Munhee, you have failed our kind, the head elder had said. You will be bound to this alien ship and sent into the empty space between stars. There you will think about your failure until the end of your days. They had used ancient dragon magic to bind him to the ship. The magic symbols carved into the ship's walls matched the marks burned into his scales. He could not leave the ship without dying. The pain would be too great. The ship had been taken from the Na'vi, an alien race that had fought against the dragons long ago. It was damaged in that war and left adrift. The dragons had found it and decided it would make a perfect prison for Daesung. Jiho, show me the stars, Daesung said. The computer turned on the big screen on one wall. It showed the view outside the ship, endless black space with tiny points of light. Daesung had named many of the stars he could see. It gave him comfort to think of them as distant friends. That's strange, Jiho said suddenly. Daesung lifted his massive head. What is strange? I'm picking up an unusual reading. A gravity pattern I haven't seen before. In 300 years. Jiho had never said anything like this. Daesung felt something he hadn't felt in centuries. Interest. Show me, he said. The screen changed to show a map of nearby space. A small blinking dot appeared about half a light year away. What is it? Daesung asked, moving closer to the screen. Unknown. It's not in my records, but it's creating a gravity field that's pulling us toward it, very slowly. Daesung's heart beat faster. Can you show me a picture? It's too far away for visual, Jiho replied. But we are drifting toward it. At our current speed, we will reach it in approximately 42 days. 42 days. After 300 years of nothing, 42 days seemed like nothing. Keep watching it. Daesung ordered. Tell me if anything changes. For the first time in centuries, Daesung felt a spark of hope. Maybe this strange thing in space could help him. Maybe it could break the magic that kept him prisoner. Maybe it could cure his sterility. Over the next few weeks, Daesung watched the mysterious object grow closer. Jiho gathered more information as they approached. It appears to be artificial. Jiho reported one day. It's giving off energy readings similar to a ship, but unlike any ship in my records. A new alien race? Daesung wondered aloud. The dragons knew many alien species, but the galaxy was vast. There were always new beings to discover. Possibly, Jiho said. I'm also detecting what might be a signal coming from it. A signal. Can you decode it? Working on it. The language pattern is unfamiliar. Daesung paced the cargo hold, his claws clicking on the metal floor. A new alien ship could mean many things. It could be dangerous, but after 300 years alone, Daesung was willing to take risks. Jiho, send out our own signal. Use the universal greeting codes. Are you sure, Daesung? We don't know if they're friendly, I'm sure. What's the worst that could happen? They kill me. That would be a mercy after all these years. Jiho was quiet for a moment, then said, signal sent. 3 days passed with no response. Daesung tried not to feel disappointed. He had lived with disappointment for centuries. What was a little more? Then, on the 4th day, Jiho's voice came urgently through the speakers. Daesung. They've responded. Daesung rushed to the control room, his massive body barely fitting through the corridors. What did they say? They're sending a message in multiple languages. One of them is basic trade speech. They're asking if we need help. Daesung felt tears form in his ancient eyes. Help. After all this time, someone was offering help. Tell them yes, he said, his voice shaking. Tell them we need help. I've sent the message, Jiho confirmed. They're changing course to intercept us. They'll reach us in approximately 6 hours. 6 hours. After 300 years, just 6 more hours of waiting. Jiho, Daesung said slowly. What species are they? Based on their communication patterns and ship design, they appear to be human. Human? Daesung had heard of humans. They were a young species, new to space travel. Dragons considered them primitive but interesting. They were known for their curiosity and their strange ability to adapt to almost any situation. Should I tell them about you? Jiho asked. Daesung thought for a moment. Humans might be afraid if they knew a dragon waited on board. No, he decided. Let them come aboard first. I'll introduce myself in person. As the hours passed, Daesung prepared himself to meet the first new beings he had seen in 3 centuries. He cleaned his scales as best he could and practiced speaking aloud, his voice rusty from disuse. For the first time in hundreds of years, the ancient dragon felt something new growing inside him, hope. The 6 hours of waiting felt longer to Daesung than the past 3 centuries. He moved restlessly around the ship, checking systems that hadn't worked in years, straightening rooms no one had used, and polishing surfaces that had gathered dust for centuries. Jiho, how much longer? Daesung asked for the 12th time. Approximately 22 minutes until the human ship arrives. Jiho replied patiently. Their ship is called Pathfinder. It appears to be a research vessel. Daesung nodded. That was good news. Scientists might be more open-minded about meeting a dragon than soldiers would be. Show me their ship, he requested. The main screen lit up with an image of the approaching vessel. It was small by dragon standards, but sleek and clearly built with care. Its hull was white with blue markings. Strange symbols that must be human writing decorated its side. It's beautiful, Daesung whispered. After seeing nothing but the inside of his prison ship for so long, any new sight was wonderful. The humans are hailing us again, Jiho announced. Put them through. A voice came through the speakers, speaking in basic trade speech. This is Captain Haewon Kim of the Earth Exploration Vessel Pathfinder. We are approaching your position. Please confirm docking procedures. Daesung felt a thrill at hearing another living being's voice. Jiho, respond for me. Tell them our docking bay is on the port side. The automatic systems still work. Jiho relayed the message. A few moments later, Captain Kim's voice returned. Understood. We are beginning docking procedures now. Please stand by. Daesung moved to the cargo hold, the only space large enough for him to wait comfortably. His heart beat fast with excitement and fear. What would the humans think of him? Would they run away in terror? Would they try to kill him? Or might they actually help him? Docking complete, Jiho announced. The humans are requesting permission to board. Grant it, Daesung said. Guide them to the main control room first. I'll wait here until you've explained who and what I am. Are you sure that's wise? They might be frightened if they discover you unexpectedly. You're right, Daesung admitted. Tell them there is a large non-human life form on board who wishes to speak with them. Tell them I am friendly, but might look scary to human eyes. Jiho was silent for a moment, then said, message sent. They are surprised, but the captain says they will still come aboard. They are asking what species you are. Daesung thought for a moment. Tell them I am a dragon. If they know of my kind, they will understand. If not, at least they will be prepared for something large. The minutes ticked by slowly. Daesung heard the airlock open and close. He heard the soft sounds of human footsteps in the corridors. Jiho was guiding them through the ship, explaining the situation. Finally, Jiho's voice came through the speakers in the cargo hold. Daesung, the humans are ready to meet you. They are outside the cargo hold door. Daesung took a deep breath. Open the door, Jiho. The large metal door slid open with a groan. 3 humans stood in the doorway. They were so small compared to Daesung, barely reaching the height of his front leg. They wore matching blue uniforms with patches on their shoulders. The human in the middle, a female with short black hair, stepped forward first. Her eyes widened at the sight of Daesung, but to her credit, she did not run or scream. I am Captain Haewon Kim, she said, looking up at the massive dragon. These are my officers, Science Officer Taimin and Security Chief Junseo. Daesung lowered his massive head to be closer to their level. I am Daesung. Thank you for answering our call for help. The science officer, Taimin, was scanning Daesung with a small device. His eyes were wide with wonder. Amazing, he whispered. A real dragon. The readings are off the charts. The security chief, Junseo, kept one hand near what was probably a weapon at his side. His eyes never left Daesung, watching for any threatening moves. Your ship's AI explained that you've been trapped here for 300 years, Captain Kim said. Is that correct? Yes, Daesung replied. I was bound to this ship as punishment by my own kind. Punishment for what? Taimin asked, still scanning. Daesung felt shame wash over him, but he answered honestly. For being sterile. Among dragons, the inability to have offspring is considered a terrible failure. Our numbers are few, and each new dragon is precious. Captain Kim's face showed surprise. Then sympathy. They exiled you for a medical condition. That seems cruel. Dragons live for thousands of years, Daesung explained. They believe that those who cannot add to our numbers are wasting the gift of long life. Junseo frowned. And they tied you to this ship with magic, Daesung nodded. What you might call magic, yes. Ancient dragon power that binds my life force to the ship. If I try to leave, the pain would kill me. Taimin moved closer. His scanner pointed at the marks on Daesung's scales. These symbols match the ones we saw on the ship's hull. They're generating some kind of energy field I've never seen before. Can you break the binding? Daesung asked, hope creeping into his voice. The 3 humans exchanged glances. Captain Kim spoke carefully. We don't know yet. This is beyond our current understanding. But we will try to help you, Daesung. For the first time in centuries, Daesung felt tears form in his ancient eyes. Thank you, he said simply. First, we need to understand more about your situation. Captain Kim said. Taimin, can you continue scanning the ship and these binding symbols? Junseo, check the ship's systems and see what can be repaired. The 2 officers nodded and moved to their tasks. Captain Kim stayed with Daesung. How have you survived all these years? She asked. Do dragons need to eat? The ship has food makers that still work, though the food is bland. Dragons can also go into a sleep state when needed, which I have done many times over the centuries. Captain Kim nodded. And the ship itself? How has it maintained life support for so long? The Na'vi built their ships to last, Daesung explained. And I have learned to repair many systems over the years. Jiho has been a good teacher. As they talked, Taimin returned to the cargo hold, his face excited. Captain, you need to see this, he said, holding up his scanner. I've been analyzing the dragon's biology, and I've found something interesting. What is it? Captain Kim asked. Tai-Min looked up at Daesung. According to my scans, you're not actually sterile. Daesung's massive head jerked up in shock. What did you say? Your reproductive system isn't damaged or dysfunctional, Taimin explained, showing them the screen of his device. It's dormant. There's a difference, dormant? Daesung repeated, not daring to hope. Yes, it's like it's sleeping, not broken. And I think, Taimin paused, checking his readings again. I think it's starting to wake up just from our presence here. Captain Kim looked from Taimin to Daesung. What does this mean? Daesung's mind raced. Could it be true? Had he suffered for 300 years because of a misunderstanding? It means, he said slowly, that everything might change. Daesung stared at Taimin, hardly able to believe what he had just heard. Not sterile, just dormant. His mind struggled to understand what this meant. How is this possible? Daesung finally asked. The dragon healers examined me thoroughly before my exile. Taimin held up his scanner, showing colorful images that meant nothing to Daesung. Dragon biology is new to us, but our scanners are very advanced. They can see things at a cellular level that might not have been visible to your healers. Captain Kim stepped closer to look at the scanner. Can you explain in simple terms, Taimin? The science officer nodded. It appears that dragon reproductive systems respond to their environment. When a dragon is isolated for too long, the system goes to sleep to save energy. It's not broken, it's adapting, so being alone caused the dormancy. Captain Kim asked. That's my theory, Taimin replied. And now that he's in contact with other living beings again, his system is starting to wake up. Daesung felt a mix of emotions, hope, anger, confusion. If this is true, then my punishment actually caused the very condition I was punished for. It seems that way, Captain Kim said softly. I'm sorry, Daesung. Junseo returned to the cargo hold, interrupting the conversation. Captain, I've checked the ship's systems. Many can be repaired with parts from our ship. The main engines are beyond repair, but we could get life support and navigation working at full capacity. Good work, Captain Kim said. She turned back to Daesung. With your permission, we'd like to help repair your ship. It would make your life more comfortable while we figure out how to free you from these bindings. Daesung bowed his massive head. I would be grateful for any help you can provide. There's something else, Taimin said, still studying his scanner. These binding symbols, they're connected to your physical state. As your body changes, the bindings seem to be weakening. Daesung's eyes widened. You mean as my reproductive system wakes up, the magic binding me to the ship might break? It's possible, Taimin said cautiously. The energy patterns are changing already, though very slowly. Hope bloomed in Daesung's heart. After centuries of despair, the idea that he might be freed was almost too much to bear. How long would this process take? Captain Kim asked. Tai-Min shook his head. I can't say for sure. Days, weeks, maybe months. We need more data. Then we'll stay and gather that data, Captain Kim decided. Daesung, if you agree, we'd like to dock our ship with yours for an extended period. We can share our resources and study these bindings together. Yes, Daesung said quickly. Please stay. I have been alone for so long. Captain Kim smiled. Then it's settled. Junseo, return to Pathfinder and bring back the repair team and equipment. Taimin, continue your scans of the binding symbols. I'll stay here with Daesung and learn more about his situation, as Junseo left to follow orders. Captain Kim turned to Daesung. Tell me about your people. Where's your home world? Daesung settled his massive body more comfortably on the cargo hold floor. My kind comes from a planet called Draktor. It orbits a red star in what you would call the Orion arm of the galaxy. Are there many dragons? No, Daesung said sadly. Even before my exile, there were fewer than 10,000 of us spread across 3 planets. We live very long lives but have few children. That is why sterility is considered such a serious failure. Captain Kim nodded in understanding. On Earth, our home world, we faced similar challenges with some of our endangered species. But we learned that isolation often made reproduction problems worse, not better. Your people seem very wise, Daesung observed. Captain Kim laughed. Not always. We've made plenty of mistakes. But we learn from them, and we're curious. That's why we're out here exploring space. Over the next few hours, more humans came aboard from the Pathfinder. They brought tools and equipment, food and water. The empty carters of Daesung's prison ship filled with voices. An activity for the first time in centuries. Daesung watched in amazement as the humans worked. They were small but efficient, fixing systems that had been broken for hundreds of years. They spoke to each other in their own language, which Jiho translated for Daesung. They are remarkable creatures, Jiho commented privately to Daesung. So fragile yet so determined. Yes, Daesung agreed. And kind. They could have just taken what they wanted from this ship and left me here. A young human female approached Daesung cautiously. She wore the same blue uniform as the others, but had a different patch on her shoulder. "Hello," she said in basic trade speech. "I am Medical Officer Sujin. Officer Taiman asked me to examine you more thoroughly, if you permit it." Daesung lowered his head to look at her. She was tiny compared to him, but her eyes showed no fear, only professional interest. "What would this examination involve?" he asked. "I would use our medical scanner to create a complete map of your biology," Sujin explained. "It's painless and non-invasive. The more we understand about your physiology, the better we can help you." "Very well," Daesung agreed. "What do I need to do?" "Just stay still," Sujin said, taking out a device larger than Taiman's scanner. "This will take about 20 minutes. As Sujin worked, Captain Kim returned with Junseo. They were discussing the repairs to the ship. "The food synthesizer is almost fixed," Junseo reported, "and the water recycling system is now working at 90% efficiency." "Excellent," Captain Kim said. "What about communications?" "We've boosted the signal strength. The ship can now send and receive messages across much greater distances." Daesung listened with interest. "Could we send a message to Draktor?" he asked. Captain Kim looked up at him. "Do you want to contact your people? The ones who exiled you?" Daesung thought for a moment. "If what Taiman says is true, then my people have misunderstood our own biology. Other dragons might be suffering needlessly, as I have." A noble thought. Captain Kim said with approval. "Yes, once we confirm Taiman's findings, we can help you send a message to your home world." Sujin finished her scan and approached Captain Kim. "I've completed the initial examination," she reported. Taiman was right. The dragon's reproductive system is definitely changing, becoming more active. "And there's something else interesting." "What is it?" Captain Kim asked. "The binding symbols on his scales are showing microscopic fractures," Sujin said. "They're breaking down at the cellular level." Daesung felt a strange tingling sensation across his scales. "I can feel something happening," he said. "It's like an itch that's been there so long I stopped noticing it, but now it's changing." Captain Kim looked excited. "This is happening faster than we expected. Taiman needs to see this right away," as if summoned by her words. Taiman rushed into the cargo hold. "Captain, the binding symbols on the ship's hull are changing. They're starting to fade." All eyes turned to Daesung. For the first time in 300 years, the ancient dragon felt something he had almost forgotten, the sweet taste of freedom on the horizon. 3 days passed quickly with the humans working on the ship. Daesung had never seen such activity in his prison home. The humans fixed systems, cleaned rooms, and studied the binding symbols day and night. They worked in shifts, some sleeping on their own ship while others continued working. Daesung spent most of his time with Taiman and Sujin. The two human scientists were fascinated by dragon biology and asked endless questions. Daesung answered as best he could, learning as much from their questions as they learned from his answers. "The changes in your system are happening faster than I expected," Sujin told Daesung on the morning of the 4th day. She held up her medical scanner, showing him colorful images that represented his body. "See this area? It was completely inactive when we first scanned you. Now it's showing significant activity." "What does that mean?" Daesung asked. "It means your reproductive system is waking up quickly," she explained. "Our presence, the variety of biological signatures around you, is stimulating your dormant systems." Taiman entered the cargo hold, his face excited. "Daesung, Captain Kim wants everyone in the control room right away. We've made a breakthrough with the binding symbols." Daesung followed Taiman through the corridors of the ship. The path was tight for his massive body, but the humans had cleared away debris to make it easier for him to move around. When they reached the control room, Captain Kim and several other humans were gathered around the main console. Daesung, good," Captain Kim said when she saw him. "We've discovered something important about the binding magic." Daesung lowered his head to see the console screen. "What have you found?" Junseo pointed to an image on the screen. It showed one of the binding symbols from the ship's hull, glowing with a strange light. "We've been analyzing the energy patterns of these symbols. They're definitely connected to your physical state. As your reproductive system activates, the symbols are losing power," Taiman added. "The magic was specifically designed to bind a sterile dragon to the ship. As you become not sterile, The magic weakens. Daesung felt a surge of hope. How much longer until the bindings break completely? The humans exchanged glances. Captain Kim spoke carefully. That's hard to predict, but we've found a way to speed up the process. How? Daesung asked eagerly. We can use our ship's energy systems to create a resonance field that will accelerate the breakdown of the binding symbols, Junseo explained. Essentially, we'll be helping your body fight against the magic. Is it dangerous? Daesung asked. Sujin stepped forward. There is some risk. The process will put stress on your body. You might feel pain or discomfort, but our scans suggest you're strong enough to handle it. Daesung didn't hesitate. I've endured 300 years of imprisonment. I can endure some pain to be free. Let's do it. Captain Kim nodded. We'll begin preparations immediately. It will take about 6 hours to set up the equipment. While the humans worked, Daesung returned to the cargo hold to rest. Jiho's voice came through the speakers. Are you sure about this, Daesung? The AI asked. The humans have only known you for a few days. Can you trust them with your life? Daesung considered the question. Yes, he said finally. I believe I can. They could have taken what they wanted from this ship and left me here. Instead, they've worked tirelessly to help me. What will you do if you are freed? Jiho asked. I don't know, Daesung admitted. Return to Draktor, perhaps. My people need to know the truth about our biology. Will you take me with you? Jiho's voice sounded almost worried. Daesung was surprised by the question. Do you want to come with me, Jiho? I have been your companion for 300 years, Jiho replied. I would prefer not to be alone. Daesung felt a wave of affection for the ship's AI. Then yes, I will take you with me. The humans can help transfer your programming to a portable device. 6 hours later, the humans had finished their preparations. They had connected their ship's power systems to the binding symbols on the hull. Strange devices had been placed around the cargo hold, creating a humming field of energy. Captain Kim stood before Daesung. Are you ready? Daesung nodded his massive head. I am ready. The process will take approximately 2 hours, Taiman explained. You should lie down and try to stay still. Sujin will monitor your vital signs throughout. Daesung settled his huge body on the cargo hold floor. Sujin attached small devices to his scales that would track his health during the procedure. Beginning power transfer now, Junseo announced from a control panel. The humming in the room grew louder. Daesung felt a strange tingling across his scales, especially where the binding symbols were marked. The tingling grew stronger, becoming uncomfortable, then painful. His vital signs are elevating. Sujin reported. Heart rate increasing. Daesung, are you all right? Captain Kim asked with concern. Yes, Daesung growled through the pain. Continue. The pain increased, spreading through his body like fire. Daesung clenched his massive jaws, determined not to show weakness. He had endured centuries of loneliness. He could endure this pain for freedom. The binding symbols are starting to break down faster. Taiman reported excitedly. It's working. Daesung could feel it working. The binding symbols on his scales were burning, but it was a good burn, like something poisonous being drawn out of his body. He could feel strength returning to parts of himself that had been dormant for centuries. Increase power by 10%, Captain Kim ordered. The humming grew louder. Daesung's body shuddered with pain, but he held still, focusing on the promise of freedom. Look, Sujin pointed to one of the binding symbols on Daesung's side. The mark was glowing brightly, then began to fade. As they watched, it disappeared completely, leaving healthy green scales behind. One down. Junseo said. Many more to go. The process continued. One by one, the binding symbols on Daesung's body began to glow and fade. Each disappearance brought less pain and more strength. Daesung could feel his body changing, healing, becoming whole again. His reproductive system is fully activating now, Sujin reported, checking her scanner. The cellular regeneration is remarkable. After an hour and a half, more than half the binding symbols had disappeared. Daesung felt stronger than he had in centuries. His scales were regaining their bright emerald color, and his muscles felt firm and powerful. We're making excellent progress, Captain Kim said, smiling at Daesung. How do you feel? Alive, Daesung replied simply. I feel alive again. Suddenly, A loud alarm sounded from Junseo's control panel. "Captain, there's a power surge in the binding symbols. They're fighting back." The pain in Daesung's body intensified dramatically. He roared in agony, his massive tail thrashing against the cargo hold floor. "Shut it down," Captain Kim ordered. "No." Daesung growled through the pain. "Don't stop. We're too close." Captain Kim looked uncertain, but nodded. "Continue, but monitor him closely." The remaining binding symbols on Daesung's body glowed brighter than before, fighting against the humans' technology. The battle between ancient dragon magic and human science played out across Daesung's scales. "His vital signs are reaching critical levels," Sujin warned. "We need to slow down. Just a little longer," Daesung pleaded. "I can feel the bindings weakening." The humans exchanged worried glances, but continued the process. The pain was almost unbearable now, but Daesung refused to give up. Freedom was too close. Then, suddenly, something changed. The pain peaked, then began to recede. The glowing symbols flickered, then started fading one after another, faster and faster. "It's happening!" Taiman shouted. "The binding magic is collapsing." With a final surge of energy, the remaining symbols disappeared from Daesung's body. The humming machines fell silent. For a moment, everyone in the cargo hold was still, watching and waiting. Daesung slowly rose to his feet. He felt different, lighter, stronger, whole. He stretched his massive wings, feeling power flow through them. "Did it work?" Captain Kim asked quietly. Daesung looked at the humans who had saved him, his ancient eyes bright with emotion. "There's only one way to find out." The cargo hold was silent as Daesung moved toward the airlock. For 300 years, he had been unable to approach this door without feeling terrible pain. Now he stood before it, his heart racing with hope and fear. "Are you sure you want to try this now?" Captain Kim asked. "You should rest first." Daesung shook his massive head. "I have waited 3 centuries. I cannot wait another moment." The humans stepped back, giving the dragon space. Sujin kept her medical scanner pointed at him, ready to help if something went wrong. "Jiho." Daesung called out. "Open the airlock inner door." "Opening inner door," Jiho replied. The large metal door slid open with a hiss. Daesung took a deep breath and stepped forward. In the past, even approaching this door would have caused him unbearable pain as the binding magic punished him for trying to escape. Now he felt nothing but the cool air on his scales, no pain. He whispered in wonder. He took another step, then another. Still no pain. The binding was truly broken. It worked, Taiman exclaimed, checking his scanner. "The binding energy is completely gone." Daesung turned to the humans, his eyes bright with joy and gratitude. "You have freed me. After 300 years, I am free." Captain Kim smiled. "You're not just free from the ship, Daesung. According to our scans, your reproductive system is fully active now. You are no longer sterile if you ever truly were." Daesung felt overwhelmed by emotion. In just a few days, these small, short-lived humans had given him back everything he had lost, his freedom, his health, and his future. "I don't know how to thank you," he said. "You don't need to thank us." Captain Kim replied. "Helping others is what humans do best." Junseo stepped forward. "What will you do now, Daesung?" The ancient dragon considered the question. "First, I must return to Draktor. My people need to know the truth about our biology. Other dragons may be suffering needlessly, as I did. That's a noble goal," Captain Kim said. "But Draktor could be very far from here. Do you even know where we are in the galaxy?" Daesung looked at Jiho's main console. "Jiho, can you determine our current location?" "Working," Jiho replied. After a moment, the AI displayed a star map on the main screen. "Based on stellar positions, we are approximately 1,200 light-years from Draktor. That's a long journey," Taiman observed. "This ship can't make it, even with our repairs." Daesung nodded. "I know, but now that I am free from the binding, I can leave this ship and go where?" Captain Kim asked. "Space is vast and empty. Even a dragon cannot survive the void between stars. I have been thinking about this," Daesung said. "Dragons can enter a deep sleep state that slows our life processes. In this state, I need very little oxygen or food. If I had a small ship with basic life support, I could sleep most of the journey." The humans looked at each other. Captain Kim spoke first. "We might be able to help with that. We have a shuttle craft aboard the Pathfinder. It's small, but it might be large enough for you if you curl up tightly." "Would you really give me one of your ships?" Daesung asked in surprise. "We would," Captain Kim confirmed. "But there's another option to consider. Our mission in this sector will last another 6 months. You could stay with us during that time. We're heading in the general direction of Draktor anyway. We could take you part of the way, and you'd have time to fully recover your strength." Daesung felt touched by the offer. "You would do this for me?" "Of course," Captain Kim said. "And it would give our scientists more time to study dragon biology with your permission." "Of course. The knowledge we gain could help both our species." Daesung didn't need to think long. "I accept your generous offer, Captain Kim. I would be honored to travel with you and your crew." "Excellent," Taiman said excitedly. "There's so much more we can learn from each other." "There's one more thing," Daesung added. "Jiho has been my companion for 300 years. I promised I would not leave him behind." Captain Kim nodded in understanding. "Our technical team can transfer Jiho's programming to our ship's systems. He can travel with us." "Thank you," Jiho's voice said from the speakers. "I look forward to learning about human technology." Over the next few days, the humans prepared for Daesung to join them on their ship. They cleared out a large storage bay and converted it into living quarters for the dragon. They transferred Jiho's programming to a portable device, then integrated it with the Pathfinder's systems before leaving the old Navi ship behind. Daesung took one last look around the place that had been his prison for 3 centuries. "Goodbye, old ship," he said softly. "You kept me alive when I had no hope. For that, I thank you." The transfer to the Pathfinder went smoothly. Daesung had to squeeze through some tight corridors, but the humans had mapped out a route that would accommodate his size. When he finally settled into his new quarters, he felt strange. For the first time in 300 years, he was in a new place. Captain Kim visited him that evening. "Are you comfortable?" she asked. "Very," Daesung replied. "Your crew has been most thoughtful in preparing this space for me. I'm glad." She sat on a crate near his massive head. "We've set course for the Lyra sector. It will take us closer to Draktor." "I appreciate that," Daesung said. "But I have been thinking about something else as well." "Oh, what's that?" Daesung's ancient eyes met hers. "When I return to my people, I want to tell them about humans. I want them to know how your kind helped me when you had no reason to do so. I believe our species could be valuable allies." Captain Kim smiled. "I think so too. In fact, I've already sent a message to Earth about our encounter with you. My superiors are very interested in establishing formal contact with Dragonkind." "That is good news," Daesung said. "For too long, my people have isolated themselves from other species. Perhaps that is why we misunderstood our own biology. We need the diversity of life to thrive." "Speaking of your biology," Captain Kim said, "Sujin has completed her analysis of your latest scans. Your reproductive system is now fully functional. According to her, you could father offspring if you wish to." Daesung felt a surge of joy at these words. "After all this time, it seems impossible." "Not impossible," Captain Kim said. "Just a misunderstanding that has finally been corrected." That night, as the Pathfinder traveled through space, Daesung dreamed for the first time in centuries. He dreamed of Draktor, of flying through its red skies again. He dreamed of telling his story to the Council of Elders, of changing their understanding of dragon biology. And he dreamed of young dragons, his own offspring perhaps, learning from humans and growing stronger through that connection. When he awoke, he felt truly alive again. His scales had regained their brilliant emerald color. His body felt strong and healthy. The binding symbols were completely gone, leaving no scars behind. "Good morning, Daesung." Jiho's voice came through the Pathfinder's speakers. "How did you sleep?" "Better than I have in 300 years, old friend," Daesung replied. "Captain Kim has asked me to inform you that we will reach the Lyra sector in approximately 2 weeks. From there, we can plot the next stage of your journey home." Daesung stretched his massive wings as much as the room would allow. "Home," he repeated. "After all this time, I am going home." But as he said the words, Daesung realized something important. Home was not just a place. It was also the feeling of connection, of belonging. For 3 centuries, he had been cut off from all other living beings except Jiho. Now he was surrounded by humans who cared about his well-being, who had risked their own safety to free him. In a strange way, he already felt at home aboard the Pathfinder, and when he finally returned to Draktor, he would bring with him not just the truth about dragon biology, but also the story of human kindness and curiosity, a story that might change dragonkind forever. The ancient dragon, once tied to a broken alien ship for years for being sterile, had truly gotten his prayers answered, not by gods or magic, but by the helping hands of a species younger than his own. And in that answer lay hope, not just for himself, but for both their kinds.